All right, for this week, we are doing our graffiti art, but we are doing it digitally. So I'm going to show you a free program that you can use online, and you don't need an account. You don't need to pay anything. It's super, super easy to use. And it's kind of cool. It is a combination of Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop, but the free version. So there's a lot of things that we're going to do with this program, looking at the weeks ahead, and we're going to start with this one. So I really encourage you to check out the website, play around with it, see what you think, play around with the different tools, and get used to it since we're going to be using it a few different times. So let me share my screen and I'll show you what the website is. It is called Pixlr.com, Pixlr.com. And when you go there, it's going to bring you to this page, and you want to go to the top where it says Pixlr E, because that is the free one, and it is called Pixlr E for Pixlr Editor. So you'll click on that, and it'll bring you to this page. You can see I was playing around earlier and I have some things I've been working on, which is cool because if you're using the same device and you go back later, even though you haven't made an account, it remembers you and it saves your work for you. So if you are working on something and you leave, come back, it'll still be there for you to keep working on. So when you first get here, you're gonna hit Create New over on the left-hand side, Create New. And then it's going to give you some size options, and it automatically chooses full HD. You can go ahead and leave it right on that, and you don't have to worry about all of these other sizes unless you want to play around with them. But I always leave it right on full HD, and then you're going to click Create. It'll bring you to this. All of these little checkerboard patterns mean that it is a blank slate. There's nothing on it, not even a white background. That just means totally blank. And you'll see over on the right, it says layer 1, because there's only one layer. It's like having one piece of paper in front of you. And we're going to build 2 layers, but not quite yet. But I do want you to take note of the fact that you should have 1 layer over here. Now what you can do is you're going to look over on the left, and you're going to see all of these different tools that you can use. You could play around with these tools and see all the different cool things that they can do. The one that I want you to focus on the most for this project is this one right here. When you hover over it, it says draw, and it looks like a little paintbrush. It's really more of painting than drawing. And so click on that, and it helps you draw. Now, to change the color, you're gonna go way down here on the bottom left, and you'll see 2 discs right here sitting one on top of the other. It's the top one that you want. If you click on it, it brings up this color selector, and you can change the color to whatever one you want. And say I was using this and I'm choosing purple, and then I'm like, wait, but I wanted to do more with the green color and I want to go back to it. If you move over to your picture here, you get a plus sign and a little teardrop looking thing. That's a color selector. So you could hover back over the green, get that exact color again, which is pretty cool if you want to go back to a color you used previously, or if you're using a color on an image and you have the image open, but we'll get into that later. So you can change your color to any color you want, click OK, and now you have that color. You can change the size of your brush by going up here. It says brush, and it's like a fuzzy circle here and the number 40. The 40 is just represents the size. If you click on that, it brings you down to this. You can change the size here. If you scroll up or down, clicking and dragging, it changes the size. Softness is how soft the edge is. You see there, it's making it have a very soft edge. And what's cool is down here, some different shapes. You could use like this kind of burst tool right here. And then when you draw with it, you can click once to get that star shape, or you can click and drag and make a whole bunch of them. So to start though, I'm just going to use a circle, and I'm going to make the size, yeah, about that big. And I'm just going to scribble all over it. So for the first step of this project, all I want you to do is just scribble on a whole bunch of paint, for lack of a better word, digital paint. Change your color, make it as interesting as you want. You don't have to make it like an actual picture here. We're just kind of scribbling in an abstract way and not making a picture. So don't get stressed about it. Just keep scribbling on it until you get to a place that you think it looks good. Let me do this color. So I'm using this size brush just to fill up the space, but after I do that, I can go back in, I can click a couple times. I can go back in with a smaller brush and just do some kind of squiggly detail work. Totally up to you on how you want this to look. Let me do some more blues. Just squiggly details. Whoops, click. Just randomly all over the place. This isn't meant to look perfect in any way. Another tool that's a really fun one to use that you might want to use here, you don't have to, is once you have a whole bunch of color down, you can go over here where there's, on the left, where there's 3 squiggly lines. That's the liquify. My favorite thing to do, you can play around with this, is if you click on the liquify button, then go up to the top where it says method and you have push, enlarge, shrink. What that's going to do is going to push the paint around, pull it in towards the center, push it away. My favorite one is swirl right or swirl left. So if I click on that, and then I can make the size a little bit bigger, and I hover over an area right here and I hold my mouse button down, watch what it does. It swirls that batch of color right there, and it's kind of a fun thing to add. If you wanted, you can make it as big as you want. If I made it huge, and it's just gonna slowly swirl my colors together, which is a really fun thing to do. It's also super soothing to just watch it kind of swirl. And you can change the direction of your swirl. So now I'm going the other way. So there's lots of really cool tools on here for you to play with and see what you like and kind of get used to using this program. Do one more. Okay. So once you've played around and you've got a base that you like, then what we're going to do is we are going to add another layer. Now, on my website, I put on the middle school work page a picture of a brick wall, and I have it on there and it says like something like click here for the picture of the brick wall. That's because I want to make it look like the graffiti I'm making is on a brick wall. If you don't want to use the brick wall, you could Google any other image. You could Google the side of a train or an underpass from a bridge, or you could use a cement wall. You can use any picture that you want for this part. But if you want to use the same one that I use, then you can get it right on my website. All you have to do is click on that button and then right click and save to your computer. So I'll show you what it looks like. So when you're ready, you're going to go over to layers and you're going to hit this plus button. Then it's going to give you some options of what you want your layer to be: empty, like our first one was, text, or image. And we're going to click image. Then it'll bring up a box for me to find things on my computer, and I'm going to go to my brick wall. And you'll see that my brick wall is not the same size as my background layer. So you're going to click on these boxes on the edges and you're going to click and drag to make them bigger. And put it right over. You're going to expand it a few times until it's covering the whole thing. There we go. Now you can't see my background color at all. So now here's my brick wall. Only you and I know that we've got that special thing going on in the background. So here's what you do to make it have that graffiti effect. You're actually going to go back over to the left and you're going to find the eraser tool. The eraser tool looks like a rectangle that's half white, half see-through, and it's going across a flat line. So that's the eraser tool. You're going to click on it. You can change, just like a paintbrush, change how your eraser tool looks and the size of it. You can still do all of the shapes that are down the bottom, change the size to whatever you want, change the softness. I think I'm going to make my softness very low because I want it to have a hard edge. So now what you're going to do is you're going to figure out what you want for graffiti. So if I wanted to write the word art in graffiti, I am now going to click and drag my eraser across, and it is revealing what's underneath. So it gives you this kind of cool pattern in your letters that you wouldn't normally be able to get without doing this. And then you can change your brush size a little bit smaller. You can add some little fun details if you want. Maybe play around with this. So we're kind of giving the illusion that we just spray painted this on. And if you want, you can then take the paintbrush, and if you want to add those dark edges, you could, let me make my brush a little bit smaller. You could go in, oops, that's not black. Switch. you could go in and add that black edge. It's definitely hard to get used to using this program and drawing with, if you're using the touchpad on your computer or a mouse or whatever you're using. Some of you might be using a tablet. It's definitely something to get used to. And so play around with it and try some different things. Now, if you make a mistake, it's super, super easy to go back because you don't have to erase or anything. So if you make a mistake and you want to undo, you're going to go up to where it says file, edit, image, all of that, and you're just going to hit edit, undo, and it'll get rid of the last thing that you did. And you can do that as many times as you need. And if you want to be real fast, the shortcut for that, it tells you right here is Control Z. So if you hold Control Z, it undoes things for you and you don't have to click around. So this is the digital version of doing some graffiti, one way of doing it. So I encourage you to try this out, play with this program, see what you think, and we're gonna do a few projects using this, and I'd love to see these. So when you finish them, oh, I should show you. When you finish these, you don't have to worry about taking a picture of it. If you go up to File, and then save, you can save this image right to your computer and then send it to me, and if you wanna share it with me, you download it right here. So that's the easiest way for you to save it and share it with me. And like I said, the website is going to save it for you. So it's not going to go anywhere. If you leave your website, if you leave the website because you got to go have dinner, or if you're going to do other homework and then come back to it later, it saves it for you. All right. So email me if you have any questions about this. And that is the intro of how to use Pixlr.com.